on a Thursday night, and you are tuned into Beltway Radio and Beyond, which can mean one and only thing. This is Chip Chat. Welcome to Chip Chat, everybody. I'm Chip. Who are you, Tez?
You just told them.
All right, welcome to the show.
Hey, we're back. Another week.
This has been quite a week.
Another week on Earth.
Yeah. Top line of tragedy this week. Fucking Orioles lost.
And, all right, let's just before we, because obviously we have a packed show.
Brian and I were very sad while you were not here yet.
I almost went to the game on Saturday, but I didn't realize that folks were going to like Disney on Ice, and I was just going to be at home. Poor planning on my part, but I'm glad I didn't go.
Yeah.
This playoff
Game
structure,
2, there was like a chance at a comeback. It's the bye,
this
right? The
playoff
bye's got to go.
Come on, y'all.
Takes all the
and
momentum
Manfred came out today, which always saying some stupid shit, but he came out today and said, I like the playoffs. No, this is insane.
That's how you know it's got to go.
Yeah, exactly.
If the commish likes it, it's bad.
You can't. The Orioles are one of the most high-powered offenses. 100-game winners. One of three?
So Brian noted tonight that
Their offense
if the
is
Phillies
insane.
lose tonight,
Yeah.
all the 100-game winners will have been knocked out of the playoffs by this system.
It's almost too much parity. You can't.
You love parity.
Not like this.
Not like this.
No, because this is a setup for failure, and like even the previous wild card with the one game and it was 2 days
sucks.
or 3 days. But that's it. You got to go back to that.
Yeah, well,
that's the only thing else. They're not gonna. You can't get rid of the wild card because we're here to make money.
I had a problem with the one game because
I don't like that. Baseball should be a series.
it needed to be a 3-game series.
Yes.
I was okay with that
for the wild card, but like
for the wild card. I had a problem with what I have a problem with is they had 2 days after the wild card winner was announced. To me, this is like, look, you had your wild card winner. Can we go give him the day off, and then go the next day? No, they had literally another 2 or 3 days until the start of the division series.
How long is the All-Star break? It's a week, right?
Yeah,
that's too long. It can't be that. It can't be that.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be a break for the 162 games.
Right, but this is at the end. This is momentum.
Yeah, no, it's clear that rule is that way of doing the playoffs can't continue.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll have to do is we'll have to get Dan Formosa back on the show.
Yeah.
And have him ask us how to rewrite the rules of baseball again.
Not the rewriting the rules. It's how to restructure this seasonal format.
Well, while we're at it, let's restructure the fake college playoffs too.
That's a whole nother.
I will say this though, it doesn't take away that this was one of the best baseball seasons overall.
I had so much fun watching.
But just not you. You can go to many markets around the country,
except for Oakland.
They had fun. They had a lot of
fun protesting.
Yeah, protesting.
They pulled off. Their fans pulled off something I thought I would never see. At the game they played against the Nationals, both fan sets were screaming to the owner, "Sell the team."
Yes.
Insane.
Yeah.
It was
two different teams, but
yeah. So, but yeah. Other than that, I mean, I feel really bad for the Orioles and their fan base because that shouldn't have happened. But it's clear to when you watch the game. It's like, oh, these guys have been off too long.
They're rusty. Yeah, you can see it.
It doesn't make any sense what their offense was able to do.
The only bat that stayed functional through the break was Tony Tater's.
Yeah,
Santander could not miss.
Actually, and Gunnar
was hitting base hits, but he wasn't bombing it like he was. But yeah, okay, the two of them. But we don't have time to get into this. No. But Mountie became a shell. Mountie was not there in the playoffs. He was basically useless. O'Hearn was basically useless. Where was Seti Mullins? Mr. Grand Slam. Didn't hit the ball at all. Mr. Grand Slam.
He's long time off, man.
Hit the cycle this year. And he couldn't hit the ball.
We all know that's a rhythm sport. I mean, all are, but that one's specific.
Yes, especially for hitters.
And you're going against the Rangers.
And for bullpen.
The Rangers their starters were not really good in the second half of the season.
No, it's their depth of their pen and their 7, 8, 9. But that's true of us too. All right. Anyway, way off topic.
That's how we know when you don't want to really talk about what we're here to talk about.
That's correct. But we do have something that we want to talk about, which is that we have a guest tonight. Dylan is here. He's a real estate agent, but he's also more known for something else, which we're going to talk to him about. Then we're going to later, afterwards, explain all of the awful stuff that we have to talk about. We have avoided some tragedy on this show.
Yeah, we kind of skirt. There's a couple we just skirt.
There's a couple where we kind of skirted them, or we made reference to them and said, let's let this sit for a week or two until we know a little more. This is one that we can't do that on.
Can't do that one.
So we're gonna have to talk about that, and there'll be some other funny stuff. Also, breaking news tonight: No Shot Steve pulled out. Yeah. We're going to talk about that, too. It's very funny, but not funny, ha-ha.
No, it's...
Funny, tragic.
As I like to say, it's a two-system party.
Yes.
That was been eating me for weeks. And you tried to correct me.
With street balls.
Yeah, that was been eating me for weeks. But yeah... The other party has to work. It can't... And then you got my man... Not really JFK. RFK Jr.
Yeah, Mr. Independent.
They're confusing me now because you don't know who's coming back.
They might show back up with Alex Jones and God knows what else.
That made me laugh in the script for that part of the music.
Yeah.
I was reading through that.
You read the script?
I did, and I audibly laughed.
Hit the fanfare button. That's amazing.
I audibly laughed at that part. I said, because I just thought back to the first.
Yes.
It was like, okay, finally people learned the lesson.
No, we didn't.
No, of course not.
But anyway, so that's going to be the show. Also, new thing tonight, I actually wrote in the things to say when you grab things. So, it's like written.
Oh, you already have the things to say.
Like instead of making up a word,
I
wrote it.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
You see?
Yes, okay, perfect.
Yeah. So anyway, ready?
Yep.
All right, so sit back, grab some
hope.
It's peacetime. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps!
Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping up?
All right, so now joining us tonight, Dylan is a real estate agent. He posts videos about buying houses and stuff, but that's not exactly why he's here. Dylan also creates videos that talk about local D.C. area landmarks, and in particular, some of the names of places around here that seem a little strange. And now he comes to a place that is very strange, always strange. Dylan, welcome to Chip Chat.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. I don't know if everybody can hear you out in Radio Land. Make sure you talk directly into the microphone.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
All right. So, you know the roots of many of the names of places here in this area.
I do once I have to make videos about them.
That's your choice. So we are right now in Greenbelt, Maryland. Do you know the origin of this name, or can you at least make up something plausible?
There was a karate dojo once upon a time. And
Yes,
Greenbelt was their top tier instead of black belt. And that's
correct
where it
so
came
far.
From.
Go on.
That's
There it
the
is.
gist of it.
And then
That's
the
all
town
it is.
sprung up around the dojo.
Correct.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Everybody's shadowboxing outside, so this makes sense.
That totally makes sense. Do you want to know the actual
Sure.
answer to this? Greenbelt was one of 3 towns that was proposed during the New Deal, and Eleanor Roosevelt was a big part of this. and it was a whites only town for a really good long time until they fixed that maybe sometime in the 50s, I think.
Good God.
And but it is the first of the planned development towns that would eventually lead to like Reston and Columbia. There were 2 other such towns built during the New Deal era, and it was also had this weird like deeding system where for a while people couldn't own their houses in Greenbelt. They had a contract for their house, but they had like to pledge all of this stuff, and they were leasing the space from the Greenbelt Development Company.
That's a
or
slick
something.
move.
So it was a ground rent.
It wasn't
Sort
exactly
of?
a ground. It's not like where your trailer is yours, but the ground you lease.
But ground rent is still common in Baltimore.
Yeah, and in other places. But this was more like that the community owned the houses, but you got to have it as yours.
So it was a co-op.
A little bit like
so
a
like
co-op.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It worked a little more like that. They've since finally gotten away from that, I think. But anyway, so that's
It's been a
Greenbelt.
deal to come out there to do that because I'm like most people, especially like the promote of home ownership, but then you technically don't. I mean, in a co-op, I guess you do have ownership because you guys are paying. What is it the same concept of shares?
Really. So look at a co-op like owning a stock in a company.
Okay, yeah. So it's like shares of
you
the...
own part of the development as a whole, and your interest in the company was that unit or in building or whatever. But that's why a traditional mortgage doesn't work on it, because a mortgage-backed security is backed by the value of that real estate. And if you don't actually own the real estate, a mortgage can't be written on it.
Right.
That's what, co-ops I don't even deal with because they're such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and now look, this show, we're all for housing and we're all for like fair, all of that stuff. So
Yes.
like, the idea of Greenbelt was a pretty good idea when it, as conceived, apart from the whites only bit of it. But they fixed that later, and the idea of the community being the owner of the space, it had a lot of good roots. It has evaporated, but anyway, okay. But that's that's your other job. Okay, so your videos about Bumpus and Manassas, they get a lot more views than almost anything else, I'm pretty sure. Are they your most popular ones?
In the past couple months, yeah, that's blown up.
Yeah.
The other ones on TikTok, for whatever reason, can't explain it. I have no reasoning for it. Anytime I put the Lincoln Memorial on there, it's getting at least like 500,000 views.
People
Don't know
love the
why.
Lincoln Memorial.
Don't know why.
Brian, note that. Put the Lincoln Memorial up in all
Yeah,
of
let's
our
just
videos.
start.
Just
we're
put it up on
posing.
the
Yeah, let's have it floating across
Yeah.
the screen as we do this show.
The Lincoln Memorial.
You know what? We got to do a live spot. You know what we got to do? It's probably
From the Lincoln Memorial?
Exactly.
We could.
There'd be a lot more people there than, depending on
I
the
mean,
time.
you go
do.
to any memorial these days, there's 1,000 influencers recording themselves. Why
Is that
not?
really?
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what's happening there? Okay. Wow.
All the time.
Interesting.
As
Okay.
a
Look,
local,
they
I don't
I
go to
exaggerate,
these
but you
things at all.
but you see them a lot.
I know, exactly. I feel that to your point
yeah,
there.
I think I don't go to them a lot.
Yeah, that's it.
But I know because I follow other influencers and I see all these
he's-
damn videos.
Native Washingtonians don't go to the museums or
No,
the
they don't.
monuments.
No.
We're
You go as a kid.
when you're a kid.
And then it's kind of,
And
if
then
you
you're like,
have
"Ah."
kids, you go take them. And
That's
then it's like,
right.
all right.
I look at it the same way, like, if you were to go to Venice, you'd be like, "This is fucking amazing! Oh my
Right.
god!" And
He's
then
that
that's
person
but
looks at you like,
right, but that's from like
coffee
my
keeps
friends
walking.
from New England or wherever. They'll come to DC like, "This is amazing!" And I'm just like, "It's fine, I guess."
It's okay.
Right.
It's traffic. Yeah. They're like, oh, we're gonna go down to the tidal basin. I'm like, great, because I have a softball game there at 4:30. Like,
Exactly.
It's-
It just is what
it's
happens.
just East Potomac Park, people. Cool.
Okay, yeah, try to park on the tidal basin. You're just gonna get mad.
Yeah,
It's not gonna be fun.
Idiots in their school
Lord, if
buses.
there's a rainstorm these days.
Yeah, right.
Anyways,
Depends which way the tide's
that's
going.
true as well. Depends
Might
on
be
time.
nothing in there.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be gone.
Okay, so anyway, those videos, they've been very popular. Have you thought about taking your show on the road to doing places that are, because like, okay, we're locals, right? So if I say Manassas,
Yeah,
it doesn't feel weird or even funny. We probably stopped telling the man asses joke like when we were
Long
Right.
time
like
ago.
6th grade or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Except it's still in my comment section. People,
Oh, I'm
They're
sure.
still going to it.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a gay nightclub, man asses, yeah. But like nobody cares.
Why does that still work?
It's not. It
I
should.
know, it
It's
should
not
not
that
work.
funny.
It's not.
It's not funny, but like I think for people who aren't from here, it is very funny.
And I think that's part of it. Or like Ononcock along the strip of like Aztec Island.
Yeah.
For locals, it's like it's not funny. It's just but like.
Even Aztec is funny.
Or like Short
More
Pump.
ass.
We don't go down to Short Pump.
Yeah,
right.
Never even thought of that was. I'm like, oh,
right
yeah,
now,
that's
but it's like we're 2 hours away. For the locals, the other's like, shut up, because like Manassas or local, it's not funny. But for
why do you got to go out there?
But even just 2 hours away, it's funny to them.
So have you thought about looking for things a little further afield to start like making videos about that maybe we would find funny?
It's on my to-do list. Like I have a never-ending list of video topics that come to mind, and just researching funny town names is one of them.
Yeah.
But I also try to stay within the sphere of where I work too.
Sure, that makes sense, and that's where you have the most background knowledge, I guess.
And where I'd get clients for.
Oh, that too.
Do
you pick up clients from your funny videos?
I have a follow-up.
That is most of my business right now.
Really?
Wow.
So people hear you telling the story about Manassas, and they go,
well,
that's the guy I want to buy a house
from. Not from those videos in particular, but it's enough to have people follow me for reasons other than real estate.
Sure.
Because the average person before COVID only moved every 7 or so years. Now the average ownership is 13 years. So if you were to buy a home with me and all I talked about was real estate, there's no reason for you to follow me for 13 more years.
Yeah, that's true.
So I still make
that's
fun
pretty
stuff.
Clever.
So I make fun stuff in videos to actually keep people engaged and give them a reason to follow me, but then the reminder of, oh yeah, I also do real estate.
So when they come up to buy a house, they're like, oh yeah, well, I don't know a real estate agent, but I know that guy Dylan, and he's funny.
Yeah, that's most of my business now. I don't even pay for ads.
That's dynamite.
That's
I had
huge.
4 new leads and conversations today alone from social media.
Do you find that, right, because it's in a sense you're creating this content and then you have like your job as a real estate agent, and I assume like, is it easier? Do those like dovetail in the sense where it's like, all right, I'm doing real estate. We're also looking at the, again, locations where real estate could be at. Like, because I feel like creating content is difficult, and do you get tired of that in a sense, or is it easier because these kind of tie together?
It was really hard at first, and that's why I think a lot of people avoid it.
Okay.
But I started doing it in 2021 when we're all home and there wasn't nothing else to do.
I feel, fuck it, what else are we going to do? Make some plans.
So, I mean, I feel like anything.
You ended up on this show.
That's right. That's insane.
Like anything, I front-loaded the effort. I was doing 4 videos a day.
Wow.
Whoa.
All right. How long does it? Because people hear 4 videos, like 4 videos, but 4 videos, I feel like probably takes a lot of.
It takes me very little time.
Okay.
Really?
All right. Cool.
So
okay.
Don't tell everyone.
Yeah. All right. Damn. The magician just took his. Let us know what the rabbit was there.
I had to learn how I like to do the videos, how I like to set it up, design them, my hooks, all that, topics that were worth talking about, how I design the flow of the videos, and that's a learning curve like anything.
In advance.
I do a basic script. I know what backgrounds I want to use if I'm doing backgrounds, and yeah, at the beginning that took a lot of effort, like any new task.
Right.
Sure.
You're new, but
streamlined it.
The
right?
creative flow just got easier the more I did it, and not only do I not have to do that much, it comes naturally. But now I have this backlog of videos that just kind of keeps it going. So the same, like if you start working out, you don't know what you're doing. You need to build a physique, but then it's not as hard to maintain it. The same with my content. It's still out there. People are still engaging with it. I don't need to be doing 4 a day.
Yeah,
but,
and you've got this pile of stuff you can release slowly.
And I can repurpose videos. I know people say that you shouldn't do that. I do all the time. I don't care.
Sure, why not?
Put that fucking Lincoln Memorial up again and run up the numbers. Run the numbers up.
Memorial.
It's like because a lot of people think that every follower sees every video. No. I can repost a video from 6 months ago.
The algorithm
odds are you didn't see
decides what.
Hell yeah, it's even more because even that's something in like a lot of musicians are always like, it's maybe be an older song they've recorded, but they've never put it out. But
all of a
like,
sudden it gets.
It's new again.
It's new to other people that've never heard it. So to your point, like especially with an algorithm, you might not see it.
And yeah, so I keep my videos very simple. Like, do you know who Alex Hormozy is?
No.
He's a business influencer. If you're in real estate or finance, you know who he is. He does super edited, fast caption, cut videos. And now everyone's trying to look like that.
But yours have a sort of more like regular guy kind of feel to
right. And that's kind of what I'm getting at is, he developed this really niche style. Then all these business and real estate influencers try to copy that style. Now you all look the same. So how is you're going to stick out? Exactly. If you're flipping every 3 seconds and all the videos look the same, why would someone stop on your video?
Yeah.
Good point.
That's a really good
Brian,
point.
make us look different. Okay. So
random.
you make. I don't know. Brian's the one who knows how to do
let's
things.
just start. Just make when the Lincoln Memorial flashes.
Every time we say
superimpose the Lincoln Memorial flashes,
anything.
and then
I'm just gonna put it in all the stickers on all the Instagram posts.
We're just joking. We appreciate what you do. Keep doing what you do. Don't leave us.
I love. Yeah, right. Please don't. I do love the Lincoln Memorial, though. I'll have to tell you off air why, but there's a whole nother story about it. All right, so I wore this shirt specifically for tonight.
Oh God, I didn't even see you.
I wanted to.
I saw the fans when I walked in. I said, "What?"
I don't know if you know.
Hey, there you go.
Have you done a video about only Maryland?
No, I haven't.
I think you should because it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options there, and it goes with the hat.
Oh, the crop dusters.
So the story on this is that the only baseball team exists.
It's a good place to start.
And the Tacoma Torch wrote an article about how their website, onlyfans.com, was crashing from way too much traffic. And then they sued Eric, who writes the Torch, and noted in their lawsuit, we don't even have a website, they said. And he was like, well, then there's no confusion, is there? So then Eric printed up these shirts and donated all the proceeds of their sales to the Only Boys and Girls Club where this baseball team plays and said, I'd love to keep donating all this money to your baseball field, or you could make me use it to fight you in court. And so they backed off and renamed the team the Crop Dusters. And this is their official hat.
All right.
Because they weren't listening.
Because they weren't listening.
They just were not listening. That's insane. Anyways.
And then we brokered a peace treaty on this show.
We did do that. I forgot.
We had the owner of the team on.
Oh my God. That was a very, that's all coming back to me. That was a very unique interview.
It was pretty interesting.
I'll say that, to
Basically,
say the least.
The result was it's all the lawyer's fault. That's what they said.
And he's a fun guy.
And
so he says.
Yeah. He swore up and down.
I'm still trying to believe
Tony swore up and down. He's like, look, I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a stick in the mud. I like fun too. It's just that this wasn't funny. And we're like, but it's the
lawyer's fault.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find that, and I forgot that even
pretty
happened.
good episode.
Oh God.
I'm trying to make peace here. All right. So speaking of place names, are any of the stories that you know like really untrue but so funny you just want to like do them anyway?
Nothing comes to mind.
Do you want one?
Hit me.
Oh God, I had
Yuma, Arizona.
I mean,
you know the story about Yuma, Arizona?
The only one that comes to mind is not like super funny, but there's the myth that DC was designed to be confusing and invade confusing troops. It's a lie.
Not even close.
No, not even close. But like it still gets tossed around.
It does confuse tourists.
But I mean, when people bring that up and like, DC was designed. Well, my go-to is, well, the White House was burnt down in 1814.
Yeah, didn't work.
So if it was designed to confuse invading troops, it failed.
Yeah, didn't work at all.
Didn't stop anybody. 2 rivers you can come in doing. It's just that simple. Yeah. I don't know what they like.
And it's in a grid, alphabetical and by number. It's pretty hard to get lost.
Wasn't that big either at that time too? Not the grid you had to go through. Might have went to like Leroy Park with the suburbs.
Right, yeah. That's hilarious.
I mean,
that's the suburbs.
It was.
That's why they put that fort in DuPont.
Far.
Wasn't a concert venue yet. It was a fort.
Insane. Anyways, moving on.
So Yuma, Arizona.
Okay.
The story goes like this: the army was out scouting against the Indians who lived there and their perpetual need to steal their shit or whatever. And they sent a scout over the hill to go find something. And they see him coming back, and he's getting close. And they go, "What did you find?" And he gets shot with an arrow. And he goes, Yuma! And then he dies. Because he was about to finish the Samuel L. Jackson or whatever. And so they named it Yuma, Arizona.
But that's all BS.
It's all fake. None of that's true. It's an Indian name. But that's the fake story. It's much funnier, though.
Dylan's is very funny.
But yes, I mean,
it's
on par with a lot of the ones I look up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like a lot of them are like I did one on Frying Pan Road.
Yeah.
I
drive past it a lot.
But there's there's no consensus on where the name came from. Because like timelines don't add up of where the stories are.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it was talked about for a certain time and then it was recorded later. You know, the dates don't match up. So, but it was just always colloquially named that way. So these stories develop, even though they're not true. I mean, I feel like that's half of the ones I do.
That could be, I mean, a lot of them end in like, so we just never really know?
Yeah, all the time. Gallows Road and Frying Pan, both in Virginia, come to mind. And then there's always the comments that get angry, like, so this video is for nothing. We don't even know.
Right.
Haha, you're the one who watched it. What the hell do you mean? It's not for nothing.
And then you commented and
yeah,
engaged
what do you
and
mean?
boosted
It's
the
for
video.
something. It just provided. Like,
Right, you boosted my video. That's all I
insane.
needed it to
Why
do.
is it that
It's insane that someone would comment that?
Giving you a set of things that could or could not be, but you don't get a final answer. That's the thing that bothers you?
I guess so.
People,
I mean, isn't
people
that
want
fine?
things. No, you think people deal with in nuance.
That's why I come to this show.
I know, me too.
This is the nuance show.
It's in there.
That's all we do here.
I
Is
try to
nuance.
rein it in every now and then, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you think people, no, they want definitive answer. It's, again, Marino or Montana.
Yeah.
No one wants that. Well, it could be
Well, they
both.
both were.
They don't want us to hear that shit.
No.
They don't want to hear that.
Definition. All right. So we're on the verge of DC statehood, he said, hopefully into the microphone.
And the narrator said,
Yeah.
Haven't we been on the verge of statehood for like 30 years?
Yeah, since 1973, give or take.
Okay, so 50
demographics are
years?
changing. We're getting close to that,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sweet spot
Yeah.
where I'm telling you, you can't just disenfranchise white folks for too long.
It's got to be the,
I'm just saying, for too long,
That's true.
it's not going to.
Eventually, a majority
The
white
hell?
city that can't vote is
That's
going to
going
get
to be
mad.
Yeah, and you're that close to the power.
Don't give them any ideas. Calm down. We already had that one.
When them Cleveland Park folks
No.
They start
Well,
marching
they're
down.
not, they're not going to march and throw poop, though.
No, of course.
They're going to pay somebody to march and throw poop. It's Cleveland Park.
Of course.
Okay. So when DC does get statehood, what should the name of the new state be? You're the expert on place names.
I've given zero thought to this topic.
I figured. That's why I wrote it into the script.
Wait, isn't there a name already?
Hey, the new Columbia.
The new
type
Columbia.
stuff. We're going to talk about
gotta
it.
No.
That's
That
very
is
bad.
awful. It sounds awful. Also, no more Columbia stuff.
No, they the whole name. You didn't know about it?
What is? Hold on. Let the
Hold on.
expert answer.
Yeah, well, I'll let the expert.
Yes, and then you tell us what you have.
I mean, Georgetown has been around since before the district.
Yes.
And because you could think George Washington, I would want to say still something about George Washington, but it's already its own neighborhood and there are neighborhoods around it, so then it would have to go by something different.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with something about George Washington. I'd have to think about it. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, it's as good an answer
Yeah.
as anything.
Yeah.
What's Brian's answer?
Okay.
This is what they-
I remember when this was like a couple years ago, they officially announced that once DC becomes a state, it will be officially known as Washington Douglas Commonwealth.
I have heard that.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess I get you there.
That's a reach.
Yeah, no, I mean, because you get to. That's getting the
Washington,
nuance.
You got Frederick Douglass, and you get to call it a
Exactly.
Commonwealth.
I don't know. It's why
does it have to be
a
the Commonwealth? We're the Commonwealth.
Yeah, what the hell?
Can't have too many
Well,
Commonwealths around.
right.
There's only what 13.
That would almost run us up the Eastern Seaboard, right?
There'd be a lot of Commonwealths in a row.
Pennsylvania, right?
Pennsylvania's a Commonwealth.
Yeah, that's it.
Kentucky's a Commonwealth.
Hold on.
Ohio's a Commonwealth. Massachusetts a Commonwealth.
Yeah, that's kind of good. I don't know.
How
about
come
that.
we're the good Commonwealth? Be in Virginia. I don't want to. No, I don't want to be in a same club as Kentucky and Ohio. I mean, Pennsylvania is a
terrible
all right.
club?
Yeah.
It's a terrible club.
Ohio.
Oh God, I knew you were gonna.
I'll come back on the show later with my entire list that I come up with.
Yeah, I think we should do that. We should have you back with a list of like new names for the district.
But I feel like anyone you name it after, if you're naming it after someone, if it's not just something new and random, whoever you name it after, someone's gonna be mad about it.
It could be problematic.
But
That's why I'm sure
people get mad about anything anyway.
It'll be called Muriel Bowserstan, of course.
Close. We're close to that. We are in that now.
She's about to be new mayor for life.
She is that. It's done,
Yeah.
right? It's over. She already won the last one.
Well,
It's
we
that.
just got to get her to smoke some crack, and we're good.
Oh God, I just said, I don't
be
know.
fine. Nuance.
Oh God. What the hell? Yeah.
What? That's why Penguin McDuffie can't be mayor
Because that's
because he won't smoke crack.
I don't think. Yeah, that's.
You don't think so?
I think the new drug of choice now is what is it?
Fentanyl.
That actually, no one could be anything.
Yeah,
at that
nobody
point.
could be anything.
Yeah, you don't make it from that one. Jesus, what? God, it's a hell of a.
Muriel Bowser stand has a ring to it.
I am something with Banneker in it.
Yeah, I think
that could be one. And you can't use the what's the name guy.
You could
the
just
French, the French guy. Lafayette. You can't use him. That would piss people off.
Lafayette.
Lafayette.
I mean, there's a Lafayette Street in every damn town.
Yeah,
that's
but you
true.
could just name it Banneker.
Banneker.
That could be the name of the state.
Yeah.
It's like, where do you live?
Banneker.
Oh, I live in Banneker.
Banneker.
Oh, yeah, in like northeast Banneker.
Yeah,
Okay,
there
cool.
you go. Simple.
You know,
He's
like, all the other names are just as legitimate as that.
Hell yeah. Hell yes. Hell yes.
You know,
Yes.
like, where do you live? Mary's Land? Okay, where? In Green Belt? It sounds ridiculous if you say it slowly enough.
Maryland's got the ones because they got all the nice British. It's insane.
Queen Anne's.
It's in the Princess
St. Mary's.
It's
Charles County.
insane.
Prince George's.
Yeah.
Virginia, well, there's a King George in Virginia.
Yeah, but I feel like Virginia does less of that, like.
Yeah, because we're busy like throwing them off.
Exactly. It's very weird in the name.
Not the loyalists.
Fairfax County was named after Lord Fairfax.
Yeah, Lord Fairfax.
So,
and
I mean,
Lord Baltimore.
I guess
Lord Baltimore, Lord Calvert.
I guess it's kind of bad. I just feel like Virginia
I feel like there are a lot more. We just don't think about it because no one says Lord anymore.
That's true.
But, I mean, all these name origins are about British lords.
Jamestown, Williamsburg, both named after kings. Yeah, no, there's plenty. I mean, Virginia is named after Queen Elizabeth. So, like, we're not.
I tried to give. I tried.
No, I appreciate that. I think Banneker's the right choice.
Banneker's, yeah.
I would move back to Banneker.
Yeah,
as long as it had voting rights.
Yeah, you can't be out here losing.
Nah,
can't be
I'm not giving up my ballot just to live in Banneker.
Yeah, no.
Get the Banneker ballot.
The Banneker ballot
could be the name of the new football team.
Erase all of this shit. We got stuff to talk about offline.
That's a great idea.
It is a great idea.
Rename the place Banneker. Make the team move back to not RFK and call them the ballots.
Yo.
Problems solved, all of them tonight.
Look, I think the ballot.
If you're listening,
the ballots is better than the Commanders.
Yes.
Way better, by a mile.
No name change is gonna help their record. I think they got more important things than the name to worry about.
Got rid of Danny.
Yeah, that is.
The fans, we can run. We can.
The fans seem to be happy at that. Like we'll take one win at a time. Let's worry about the actual playing later.
Yeah. Winning does solve everything.
That's a next season thing.
But I'm okay with like being not Snyder. I mean, that's a good.
It feels good.
And not the Washington football team.
I like Washington.
I think that one was better.
I didn't think it was as bad as Commanders.
No,
I thought
Commanders was bad.
But the Banneker ballots.
Banneker ballots, yo.
I mean, that writes itself. How was the BB's game? You know, I mean, it's like, it's all there. Think of the shirt. It would be like a little scroll of paper would be the logo with like surveillance or surveying equipment like around it on the side.
People, you were asking a lot.
But if you're doing an abbreviated name, then someone's going to say you're copying the O's.
Yeah, but I mean, who cares?
Hey, we just got here at that point. We just got here. It's the state, man. We got to copy somebody.
Shit, Washington State stole all the shit already.
I was going to say, and look, Maryland gave us
They didn't put that guy on their flag.
Oh, God, they did.
That our city is named after.
Hey, dude, that's insane.
That's ridiculous. He never went there. He didn't even know it existed.
That wasn't,
There's no Manifest Destiny yet.
It was for French.
Yeah.
It wasn't even America.
Might have been Russia still.
Maybe. Actually.
I mean, it was like, you know, I don't know.
I mean, that was all native land.
Yeah, it was all Indian country, but whatever. Like, all right, Banneker ballots. You heard it here first.
You did hear it first. Yeah, I'd be happy, but upset that, you know.
You'd be upset that I got it to happen, but you'd be happy at the end result.
Yeah. I would just be, I'm not a huge sports guy, to be honest with you. I would be the Michael Jackson in the theater meme, just like, watching the fights.
Yeah, exactly.
Watching the fights.
That's
like,
fine.
No, I don't care who wins. I'm just here for the entertainment.
We get it. All right, so
speaking of entertainment,
we want to make you play a game.
Hit me.
Which is called Florida or Nah.
Florida or not?
Yeah.
Every time.
Okay.
I have not read this.
All right, so you can play along too this time. The way this works is I'm going to read you a story with the locational details removed. You have to determine whether this did or did not happen in Florida.
Hit me.
Okay. A fisherman who was caught on surveillance video beating a shark to death with a hammer. has been sentenced to 1 year probation and ordered to take shark fishing classes, according to reports. Brian Waddle, 34, was nabbed pounding a shark, a protected species, with a hammer.
Look at this man with his hand
back in December, and was later charged with failure to return a prohibited species. The disturbing footage shows him striking the shark several times as it lay in the surf, then turning the helpless fish over and using the back of his hammer to rip out its gills. He then dragged the fish back into the water, allegedly after he noticed bystanders were watching him. Oh, no. This is my
Put the bystander back up, please. 1 second, please.
This is
because the bystander is like, what the fuck? Just like hand on hip.
This is my favorite line in this whole story. You ready? The battered fish.
That's
died
so
after
good.
being returned to the water. Not the crispy fish, the battered fish. That good taste. And,
yes.
Waddle has now been sentenced to 12 months of probation, ordered to pay a $336 fine, and had to make a $250 donation to an aquarium.
That's a lot of rules, man.
And he'll have to complete an on-site shark fishing course with the Fish and Wildlife Agency, according to the news report. Okay, did this happen in Florida or not in Florida?
So the two things that make me think Florida are, beach, shark, cool.
Yeah.
And then how casually the bystander was. Just like it happens all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, that could be Florida.
It could be.
That could be something.
Is someone beating the shark again?
Right.
What?
Brian's up to his shark beating again.
If he was like, sure, but he was just hanging out. So I feel if that's low on your what the hell's happening radar, that sounds like a Florida. But the fact that the state cared at all doesn't tell me Florida.
That's a really
good insight.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's all about their alleged freedoms or whatever.
That's right.
So
Free
the
to
fact
beat
that there's
sharks.
punishments and lessons to be
learned. You want
learned.
to beat a shark? You can beat a shark. I can see the
That's
sentence
right.
coming up right now.
Right now.
So the fact
this is where shark beaters come to beat things with woke.
We beat our woke ass sharks.
All he had to say is like, "It's a woke shark." And forgiven.
That shark deserved it.
So
it was trying to teach kids about shark on shark love.
It was a trans shark.
It was a drag shark.
That's it.
The shark was in drag.
Shark must not have.
He dragged the shark.
He did drag the shark. I thought the shark was reading books.
Good God. All right.
Hold on. Go continue.
Because there was punishment involved.
Yeah.
For what I think a Floridian would see as an act of freedom.
Yes.
I'm going to say not Florida.
All right.
I'm also going to go not Florida. And that point you make is really good, Dylan.
That the government cares.
That the government cared.
Yeah.
Where I'm going to go to South Florida is because I think due to climate change, these sharks are moving into places where people might not have seen sharks like this before, and that might elicit
so you're thinking it was warmer somewhere, and they
somewhere
got
else. You might have fucking Rhode Island
it was
somewhere.
In Newfoundland.
Yeah.
He was like, oh shit, what is this thing?
It beat the shit out.
It tried to eat the lobsters.
That's where I'm going with that.
Okay.
All right.
You're both wrong. It was Brevard County.
Damn,
in
shit.
Florida.
Oh, man.
It was beating the lemon shark to death. You
Isn't
know,
this the
it's
same-
okay to beat a lemon shark, though, right?
Is it?
Yeah, because they're already seasoned. They're
I'll
lemon
give it
sharks.
to you. I'll give it to
Delicious.
you. I'll give it to you on that one.
No.
Oh, what? Come on.
But I do love the reasoning that it's like
Yeah.
I thought it was onto something with
that
it.
there was a Fish and Wildlife agency at all.
DeSantis is going to save his campaign with this shit. I can see it now. I can see him coming out.
So you've already given ideas to, let's see, who else are you going to help tonight?
I know, right?
You heard it here, Meatball.
Look, no.
Get the sharks.
Get the sharks
Beat
about
those woke ass sharks to death.
to death.
This is where woke sharks come to
Die.
die.
That's it. There it is.
You get those dick pills from that guy down in the villages.
There you go.
You got something hard to beat the shark with. It'll be great.
Oh my God. All right.
All right. So, Dylan, where can everybody find your videos and stuff so they can follow you and things?
You can find me on Instagram. It's just the Dylan Ford or DMV Dylan on TikTok.
There you go. And if they do want to buy a house from you, where do they go?
They can give me a call, 571-510-2629.
There you go. You're going to get a lot of calls from this show.
Can Jerome, like, fucking pause on the fucking interest rates for a minute? For God's sakes.
Oh, you trying to buy a house?
Hell yeah.
I know a guy.
I know.
So I've seen, the Mortgage Bankers Association, NAR, all forecasting rates will go down by the end of next year. The Fed has given no inclination to ever lowering rates. So I keep looking at these announcements like, where are you getting your numbers?
They out here trying to trick people.
Right, like show me your data models.
Wasn't it just 300,000 jobs?
Yo,
just 300,000 jobs.
Yo, he's sitting there like Birdman hands. Wait till my next meeting.
Yeah, but
wait till the committee comes.
the shit out of
He
this.
is but like again, soft landing means something different.
But
heavy caveat.
Yes.
We're not saying that.
I'm not saying you're not suffering, and I'm not saying people who are suffering
but
aren't
we're
suffering.
saying it seems like he might know what he's doing.
But interest rates aside, if they go down in the future, there's going to be bidding wars again. You're going to be screwed either way.
So exactly. So fuck it. What is it? Though they say
Plus
date the rate, marry the house.
Yeah.
My ears bleed when I hear people say that, but it's not untrue. It's just
because the rate changes eventually, right? And
it's a bastardized oversimplification.
Right, yes.
Because if you can't afford the house, you can't afford the house.
Right.
Don't overexert yourself and declare bankruptcy just because you wanted to get into the house.
Or tank the economy.
But if you can afford the payment temporarily, it's still better to get in now and then refinance, assuming you have the equity.
You'll build equity.
And when that time comes, because if you wait, say rates are 7.25%, 7.5% now, but we're still having bidding wars.
Right.
Now, so if they go to 5, everybody's coming in.
Exactly. All these people that are on the sidelines think, I can afford again, I want this again. Then we have 2021 bidding wars again.
You can afford the interest rate, but you can't afford the price.
Right, so
that
house that was $500 you're looking at now is $600 with 5% interest rate, and it cancels out. Then there's still bidding wars again. So if you can stomach the payment, it's still easier to get the house now. It's not easy. It's still hard, but it's going to be even harder when rates drop and all those people flood back in, because part of the problem too is most people who own their house now couldn't afford it if they bought it today.
Oh, I can't afford my house.
And why would you leave your comfy
3% and that's
I get a call every week. Hey, do you want to sell your house? Fuck no. I want to buy my house.
And even if you have to move, you have to downsize. Like,
I'm not moving.
So say your mortgage payment now is $3,000. If you want to downsize 1,000, 2,000 square feet less, and it's going to cost you the same, why would you do it?
Yeah, it doesn't even make any sense.
A lot of people that would sell can't. But even when rates drop and those people who would sell could afford the next place, it's not going to be instant overnight.
No.
There's still going to be a drastic inventory shortage.
We need to build a lot more houses is the solution here.
There's an inventory shortage.
Massive.
And I sound like an asshole for saying this, or a lot of people need to die.
Yeah,
a lot of people just need to disappear.
You know what, Dylan? I was going to say the same, because right now it's like the only kind of way that you're probably going to get is that someone passed away or there's a divorce.
It's either... So
life-changing events are the only way that a house is going to become available, right?
And the only way is the market aggregate overall would either people who are on the demand side need to disappear, or there needs a giant surplus of inventory.
Yeah. So heard it here,
unless the Black Death comes again for us, or
out of here,
boomers. A new COVID strain really takes us all out. We got an inventory shortage, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Build more houses. Subsidize houses. Put tradespeople to work.
Put them close to the metro.
All right. Yeah. Right. Then Brian would be really mad. Okay. One more time, the Instagram everybody can follow you at?
The Dylan Ford on Instagram and DMV Dylan on TikTok.
There you go. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, and then Dylan's going to sell us some houses. And then when we come back, we're going to do some of the serious stuff, which we did promise you on the show, which nobody wants to listen to anyway. Yeah. And then we'll do the third half of the show after that. So you're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps!
You're picking sides like you pick your nose. Easy enough, what you got, not gonna lose. You think you're invincible? Well, nah. Bye.
sick of all these witches and warlocks. You're full of shit. Pumpkin popsums, I'm sick of it.
You keep interrupting me.
And all of it's lies. Because you're lying. That's why. Oh, there's energy and oh, now we're done with Trump. You said he was the Messiah. You said he was invincible. I will not suffer your Q people after this. I knew what you were day one. I know what you are now. Witches and warlocks, you're full of shit. Pumpkin popsums, I'm sick of it.
You keep interrupting me.
And all of it's lies. Because you're lying. That's why every goddamn thing out of your people's mouths doesn't come true. You said it was all over. Q tells us stuff. Q. Witches and warlocks, you're full of shit. Pumpkin popsums, I'm sick of it.
You keep interrupting me.
And all of it's lies. Because you're lying. That's why. Witches and warlocks, you're full of shit. Pumpkin popsums, I'm sick of it.
You keep interrupting me.
And all of it's lies. Because you're lying. That's why. Because every god thing.
Welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping up?
All right. So that was our guest, Dylan. He was here. You should go check him out.
Yes.
And he's funny and cool.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And that's why we started the show then.
That's why we started the show that way, to give the people what they want.
Correct.
Which is why they come to this show, for funny and cool. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Call us if you do come here for that.
Right.
Okay. 301-761-1040.
It's sort of like the John Oliver thing where, like, if he ever says anything sort of cheerful, he's like, I know none of you expected me to say that.
Exactly.
Okay. Speaking of which, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try our very best to talk about what's going on in Israel, and we're going to do it in two parts. The first part is going to be where we're going to tell you what has happened up to now, what the context of this is in a general sense. And when I say in a general sense, I'm going to skip a lot of stuff. But I want to remind people, and I'm going to say this probably 100 times tonight, whatever time scale you can think of regarding this conflict, add a 0 on the end of it and then keep thinking.
Yeah.
So if you can think of something that happened in the last 100 years, you're not even close.
You're nowhere in the ballpark.
Order of magnitude off. If by some miracle you can think in terms of 5,000 years, you're somewhere close. That is how long this has been going on. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to do something that's really important, which is we're going to talk about what's okay for people to say regarding this. Which, when we get to that, I want to remind everybody that nothing is always an option.
There we go. That
you
is,
can all just say nothing.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that it's always the great place to be.
And if you hear your Jewish friends say, you know, your silence is deafening to us, you can ignore that for now. We don't mean that. It's not that isn't what we're talking. It'd be kind of the opposite right now. If you're saying nothing, it might be because you're too overwhelmed by the horror that you're witnessing, and that's okay. I'm way overwhelmed.
Yeah, I would. How could you not be? I say, what are we talking about?
Then we're going to talk about what's about to happen,
right,
and what the future could possibly be.
Yeah, I think the language around, because again, like you could say this conflict now, but it's not like this. When you say this conflict, it's like it's not
this
chapter of it. It's not like just the here and now. It's so much bigger. But I think people need to be able to have conversations about it, and I think you can't be afraid to have the conversation. And I think there's a way that you should be able to talk about this without kind of being offensive in a sense to both parties. And there's a nuanced way that you could have.
Well, there's either a nuance or a completely neutral way.
Yes,
a
neutral way.
You can neutrally say the loss of life in this situation is terrible.
Yeah.
And leave it at that. You can just say that.
Yeah.
If somebody hears you say that and goes, but did you see what they did when they carried off those concert goers? Then that's about them.
And yeah, you can, and yeah, like don't feel like you have to get, and I don't like dragged into it, but like again, dragged away from like what your neutral feeling might be about the situation. And right on both sides, this shit again has been going on a long time, and folks, there are folks in separate camps that are gonna have their views on things, but there is a neutral,
and within camps,
exactly. This shit is not like what they say a monolith. It's definitely not that across.
Yeah,
It's, so
okay. We have this weird responsibility to talk about this, and I think that most people know, sort of our general identities based on this show of watching us or listening to us and stuff. But if it's not abundantly clear, I want to make it abundantly clear. I am Jewish. I am 100% Jewish. All of my relatives are Jewish. There is nobody prior to me that wasn't. I have a lot of cousins in Israel. A lot. My grandfather's brother moved there to help start up the country. And since then, these folks are fairly Orthodox. They have a lot of kids very early on.
Right.
In my generation alone over there, there's like 30 some odd cousins. All of them are called back up to their units right now.
Right.
They're
I think that should be
about to go to
explained that part of, right.
So
of why that is.
I want to I'm saying this to this is going to sound like a point of privilege, and I'm going to take it as such. If you don't have family on either side of this conflict, your opinion matters a lot less. And if one of us who does have people on either side of this conflict tells you that this is personal because we could lose family, you need to shut the fuck up.
Just listen.
Just listen.
Yeah.
For the love of God, especially if you're on neither side of this.
Yes.
If you are a white Christian living in this country.
I saw your earlier today.
And you somehow have a problem with a Jewish person having opinions about the sanctity of life, not the sanctity of life, but like the existence of life on two sides of an arbitrarily drawn line, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You're just not part of this conversation. I don't care how many Jewish people you know or how many people you're around or what you think about the savagery of the whole situation. Shut up.
And some people are part of the conversation for the really wrong reasons.
Yeah, which we're going to get to. But if you are not part of this, you can shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And it is advisable that you shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And let the rest of us handle it. All right, so what happened? What you need to know is that Israel is in a hostile neighborhood, and it is bordered on two sides by two pieces of territory that are where Palestinian people live. One of them is called the Gaza Strip. It's 130 some odd square miles.
Right.
It's a very small place geographically. There's 2.5 million people who live there, half of which are children. Yeah. For the last 25 years or so, the Israelis have fought 4 wars with people in Gaza, a terrorist group called Hamas, and they have built essentially a wall all the way around this place and blockaded it. Nobody can get in, nobody can get out, no fuel, no electricity, no water, which is a key thing here, can get in or out of Gaza without the Israelis say so. During this time, the terrorist organization Hamas has built up through smuggling and help from outside sources like Iran, the ability to occasionally attack Israel with rockets and other means, but mostly with rockets.
Right.
And also during this time, the United States has helped Israel build a rocket defense system called the Iron Dome, which as the Iron Dome got more and more effective, these rockets that the Palestinians have became less and less effective. There is no political engagement between these two groups. The Palestinian Authority, such as it exists only in the West Bank. It does not operate in Gaza. There was a war between the Palestinian Authority, which is Fatah, and Hamas won and drove Fatah out of the Gaza Strip entirely. They govern it as their own. And to be extremely clear, it is entirely okay to call the people of Gaza hostages to Hamas. They did not choose this.
Correct. Yeah.
And this idea that if Hamas continues to make life terrible for these people, they'll throw them off.
That's not. What are we talking? Yeah.
It's like telling somebody, hey, did you think about escaping your kidnapper? Oh, shit. What a great idea.
Yeah.
Hadn't thought of that before. They've no capacity to fight back. They have no capacity to fight back. Hamas runs the show. The people are captive to them. Okay. Also important to note is that in the last few years, Israel has had a terrible time of self-governance. They've had several governments fall, lots of dissolutions in parliament. Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been prime minister for the last 6,000 years, is facing hundreds of indictments. He's as corrupt as you could possibly get, and as recently, in his most recent iteration of forming a government, basically made deals with some right-wing extremist, ultra-Orthodox settler types who, by the way, don't fight in the army because they have an exemption. He made a deal with all of them to basically form a coalition, get in power, and then promptly started doing things like dismantling judiciary and other basic human rights in Israel, to which the people responded by going to the streets. Several chunks of the military said they wouldn't fight, and he kind of backed off of it for about 5 minutes, and then as soon as everybody was done striking, he started it right back up again. It's a powder keg. Somewhere in the middle of all of this chaos, Hamas got their hands on some fucking paragliders and bulldozers and shit. How they got them? Don't know. This whole idea that Iran is the smoking gun doesn't seem to be any direct evidence of it.
And I mean, people would lean to that, obviously, but
It's
there's
probably, but we don't know.
we don't know, and there's no need to spec. Like they got.
There's no need to speculate about it. They had paragliders and they had bulldozers, and they busted through the fence or jumped over the fence, and they got into some of these kibbutzim and settlements that are near Gaza and attacked Israel. They killed over 1,000 people. The death toll still being still going up. They occupied towns. They fought house to house. They carried off hostages back to Gaza. They attacked Israel in the most brutal, horrific, savage way you could imagine. I'm not going to go into what they did because it is too painful to consider. But if you can think of an awful atrocity, these terrorists committed it. And it took the army more than half a day, basically, to get there and respond. Keep in mind, this country is geographically the size of, like, Fairfax County. So it shouldn't have taken that long. And the vaunted intelligence service of Israel either got caught with their pants down or let it happen. You can choose which of those two things you think is true.
Ooh, that is a very Jesus.
Fascist Playbook 101.
I see. I'll let you have that. That is
destabilize government.
Whew.
Wait for, cause.
I know.
Or allow an act of violence and assume absolute power.
Yeah, I mean.
So that's the background. Now, what is this related to? This conflict has been going on for forever. But in a modern context, and by that I mean post-war, what you need to know is that the British controlled this piece of territory up until the end of the war, and then the UN colonialism fucks up everything.
At work today, people were attacked. They were like, well, I was like, I blame the English, but
you're the wrong kind of British.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think I didn't, I was just coming over from Jamaica.
Shirt while he was.
I know. Oh my God.
They were like, it's one of them. It's a Brit. Blame him. Get him.
What?
Yeah. Paul Revere saved us from this shit.
England, strikes again.
Out here drawing lines.
Jesus Christ! It's like from that to the Berlin Conference. It's hard when you draw lines in places where there are tribes,
and where you don't ask any of the people.
It's like we can Nigeria.
You're not even looking at topography. You don't even know where the rivers flow.
You don't even the maps. Anyways, I'm not going to get it. It's very frustrating.
So the British control this territory, and at the end of the war and the formation of the UN's like, all right, England, give back all your colonies, and England's like, all right, what are we going to do with Palestine? And they said, well, just draw a line down the middle and put the Jews on one side and put the Arabs on the other side. And
novel idea, right?
And the UN was like, that's the best solution we got. And the Jews were like, works for us. We'll take it.
Yeah, and also like the context of that is kind of like really important. Like, of course, like, yeah, like what are we just came out of World War II.
We're just coming out of World War II. We're just coming out of the Holocaust. We need some sort of refuge, some safe place to go. So we'll take anything.
Yeah, like,
and they're like, we'll give you Tel Aviv, Haifa, and like a little bit of the beach. And we're like, fine, it's cool. This was not acceptable to the rest of the Arab world. They wanted the entire thing. And so the second the British left, they attacked. The Israelis fought with a bunch of surplus French weapons. That's all very true. You know, they never got used in the war, so they had plenty of them. It's all true. I'm not making any of that up. And they won and secured their safety. There was another attack in 1956. The Israelis not only repelled the attack, but expanded the territory and took it back. And this happened several more times, 67, and then in 73, there was a surprise attack. Again, the Israelis won and took vast amounts of territory, the Sinai, everything. At some point, you know, it became clear that attacking Israel results in bad outcomes for the Arabs. And so they mostly stopped. They didn't achieve peace, exactly, although in 1973, Egypt attacked Israel, and 6 years later, they were signing a peace treaty with Israel because of Jimmy Carter, who's still alive, by the way. Happy birthday, Jimmy.
Yes, happy birthday. Yes.
That's your basic context of what this is related to. This conflict is ongoing. In Gaza, in Lebanon, in Jordan, there are refugee camps of Palestinian people who were pushed off of their land by the British, by the Israelis as they established their state, by the Jordanians, and put into these camps. These camps are 60-something years old. There are 4 generations of people born in them, and none of them have papers. Lebanon has not granted any of these people status. They're not citizens of Lebanon. They are stateless people living in those camps. Jordan, whose king claims to be a Palestinian, who claim to be ethnically Palestinian, have not granted any of these people status. All of them living in the West Bank, they were not granted Jordanian citizenship. They were not granted status. And the Egyptians won't even let them in. Yeah. Because they fear a refugee influx, and because theoretically, if they let them leave and establish some other place, they're sort of giving up on reestablishing a Jew-free Palestine, which, let's just be honest, the Arabs are not interested in. It's politically valuable to them to continue to have somebody to blame, even while they're economically dependent on making peace with Israel. That's your context. Furthermore, context, the Gulf Arabs and almost the Saudis were like inches away from normalizing relationship with Israel.
I mean,
which meant that they weren't going to be funding Hamas anymore.
Right. As I wrote down 4 things around this, and one of them was Saudi Arabia. And have we heard anything from MBS?
Yeah, actually.
What was his comments on that?
Weirdly, MBS, the tack here was that the State Department and China, of all people, right. China has brokered, I don't want to call it rapprochement, but at least a avenue of conversation between the Saudis and Iran, which hasn't existed since the revolution.
Right.
And the Chinese leaned on the Saudis to call Iran to tell them not to get further involved in this and that it would jeopardize their new relationship. I don't know how well that's going to work. As we were riding up here, there was reports coming through about Qatar being involved. Qatar hosts the World Cup and Hamas's political wing. That's true. All of you who are enjoying nice round of football. And the Qataris also fund Hamas. Right. So there was some effort by the diplomats to get Qatar to lean on Hamas and tell them to work out a deal with the hostages. It's unclear if that's going to make any difference or not. Let's talk about what's okay to say and what's not. And also, a brief thing about what happened. Bibi is not a soldier. Benjamin Netanyahu is not a soldier.
Isn't he a dude from New Jersey?
He's not from New
Yeah, I
Jersey,
know.
but he does speak English. He was not born in the States, but
yeah,
mostly lived in the
Yeah,
States
mostly
as a
lived in
kid.
the States.
His brother Yoni was a soldier. Was the hero of the raid on Entebbe. He was the only Israeli who died in rescuing all of these people. But anyway, it's safe to say that while Bibi has persecuted several wars as a political, as a prime minister, as a political entity, he hasn't fought much, and he doesn't know from fighting. And his current cabinet and, ministries as they were assembled before this war were mostly made of other people who had not fought. They're ultra-Orthodox. They're given an exemption. They don't have to fight. They are settlers. They are all of these things, but what they aren't are soldiers. On the other hand, the opposition is run by a guy called Benny Gantz. Benny is a soldier. He was the former chief of staff of the army and has fought 2 of the 4 wars in Gaza in the last 20 years himself.
Right.
He joined the army, as all Israelis do, when he was 18. By the time he was 52, he was chief of staff. So that tells you that he is a serious soldier. So Bibi, realizing that he has no gravitas and it would be difficult to keep an army motivated without a little bit of familiarity,
Emergency deal, right? Emergency
calls
government.
Benny and says, hey, we got to form an emergency unity government. Benny, of course, says yes. They also bring in Gadi Eisenkot, who is the guy who rescued all 14,000 Ethiopian Jews. That's a great story if you want to look that up. It's, not funny, but does have one funny moment, which I'll tell you about sometime later. They form this unity cabinet. They've got a wartime cabinet, and everybody's basically got this deal. We will sort out all of our political differences after. Right now, existential threat. 360,000 reservists called up, all of my cousins, and they're ready to invade.
I mean, that's the cake's baked on that. It's
Yeah.
done. It's going to happen.
Okay. Here's what it's okay to say, and here's what it's not okay for people to say. And I have this broken into 3 categories. Number 1, the goyim. What can the goyim say? And when I say goyim, I mean Gentiles, non-Jews and non-Arabs. All y'all, for lack of a better word. Number 1,
non-Semitic people.
Yeah,
Basically, right.
Number 1, you can say nothing.
Great option.
Great option.
Yo, I swear.
Say nothing. If people ask you about the situation in Israel and you want to get out of that conversation, which I heavily advise you to do, say, it's terrible what's going on over there. The loss of life is tragic. And walk away. End of conversation. That's it. That's your list of things that are okay for you to say. If you're goyim, that's it. You stop there. You don't get to say, well, I support Israel. No, you don't. You shut up. You say nothing. You don't know about this. This is not your fight. This is like me walking into a hair braiding salon and explaining to them why they shouldn't be putting box braids into one person's hair and they should be putting cornrows into another. I don't
really
know
good.
about that.
It's really good.
That's how far away from this you are. Don't. Just nothing. That's it. You hear me, Goyim? Nothing. Say nothing. If you feel compelled to start telling me or anybody else close to this conflict about how we should feel about any of this, I'm going to give you one pass to say, oh, no, I realize that's my mistake. I take it back. I'm going to go say nothing now and walk away. You make it past that one pass, you think what the Israeli army is about to do to Gaza is bad. Wait till you see what my foot's about to do to your ass. That's not your place. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. You're not in this. Okay. Claire?
Simple.
Easy. What can Jewish people say about this? Number 1, any fucking thing they want. Number 2, it is okay for Jewish people, for Israeli people, for people who are engaged in the fight to say that the loss of life on both sides of this line is tragic. It is okay for Jewish people to be sad about the impending doom of so many Palestinian children. It's okay to say that. Doesn't mean we're siding with Hamas.
Yeah, because Hamas is not the representative of the Palestinians. Right?
Most of the people who are going to die in this war are not Hamas.
Right.
They're mostly not terrorists either.
Yeah.
They're mostly regular people who get up in the morning and try to take their kids to school and try to go to work and try to eat a cookie and try to go to bed.
Yeah.
That's who's mostly going to die. And it's okay for a Jewish person to be sad about that. It's also understandable and okay for Jewish people to say, what was done was so horrific, I'm blinded by rage, and I want revenge. I get it. I get it. I think about how I felt after 9/11.
Yeah.
And I was ready to turn Afghanistan into a sheet of glass. And it didn't cross my mind for even 1 second that most of the people in Afghanistan aren't Al-Qaeda.
Right.
I didn't think about that. I did not think about that.
It's very human.
It is. But it is also a little juvenile. A more developed mind can think about how the people in Gaza, I said I'd say this several times, are effectively the hostages of Hamas the same way the people they carried off are. It's also okay for Jewish people to say that the right-wing government of Israel has been trying to provoke a war of this level for at least 20 years. Ariel Sharon tried it in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And he didn't get it because the Palestinians had enough restraint to huck a few rockets and cool it. But this is what the right wing has wanted. Because the right wing in Israel, it's unfortunate to say this, is kind of interested in a bit of ethnic cleansing. They're kind of interested in some extermination, and they're kind of interested in some outright annexation of territory. And the way they're going to do it is they're going to wait for something so horrific and tragic that basically all the constraints are removed and they can do whatever they want, which in this case includes siege warfare, which is illegal under international law. Another thing to point out, stop saying things are banned under international law. Hamas does not give a fuck about international law, and I can't tell you what, there's not a group on this planet who cares less about international law than the Israeli military. Almost nothing they do is countenanced by international law. Almost nothing. The occupation is not internationally legal. It's been going on for 60 years. They bomb people in other countries. They drone strike people in Argentina, for God's sake. They do not fucking care. So don't tell them, well, you know, siege warfare is banned under the Geneva Convention. You know what else is banned under the Geneva Conventions? That, right there. They don't fucking care.
They don't care.
Stop that. Stop telling them what is and what isn't. Unless you're willing to, like, get in front of them and stop the tanks, don't tell them what to do. They're going to do it. They don't care. That's an aside.
Yeah.
It's okay for Jewish people to be sad about loss of life. It is okay for, I saw a photo today. I'm desperately trying not to look at much of this because it is too awful to look at. It's too awful to even read about. But I saw a photo today of a man carrying his daughter to one of the few hospitals in Gaza and that is quickly running out of electricity. And at first glance, I didn't know which side of the conflict this was on, but what I saw was a guy who looks like me carrying a daughter who looks like my daughter, desperate. And I was heartbroken. I cried. I looked at that and I cried. And I couldn't stand it. And if I tell you that, if I show you that image and take away any markings that tell you what side is what, and you go, oh, that's tragic, and I go, yeah, it is. That guy's Palestinian, and you have a negative reaction to that, that's on you. You're the monster there. I shouldn't have to explain that. Shouldn't have to explain that being sad about the loss of innocent life is not support for Hamas. But if you think it is, that's you. That's what you're extrapolating from that. And that's a problem. You need to go have a good long talk with the man in the mirror. To quote king.
Yeah.
Okay. Thirdly, what is okay for Arabs to say? First of all, the loss of life is tragic, and we're really sad about this. That's okay. Doesn't mean they support Israel.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, simple and plain. Yeah.
If you can't shake out of one of your Arab friends that Hamas is bad, that's probably not your friend. If they can't say Hamas is bad,
Right.
that's a problem. But it is fine for them to say Hamas is bad. It's also fine for them to say that the people of Palestine have a right to self-determination and a legitimate governance of their own state. It's okay for them to say it. Doesn't mean they want to destroy Israel. Doesn't mean they hate Jewish people. It's okay for them to say that Arabs or Palestinians deserve the right to self-determination. That's fine. It's not okay for them to say that Palestine should exist from the river to the sea. That's not okay. Let's not say that. That's talking about the extermination of another group of people. We're not going to do that. Don't do that. But it's okay to say that they should have safe, dare I say, democratic rule of their own state. It's fine. It's also fine for them to say, I wish we could just all live together in one happy state.
Yeah, right.
One nation under money. I mean, the opportunity to charge Christians to come see the Holy Land.
God, it's right there.
It's a huge theme park. If everybody could just cool it for like 50 years, we could all be billionaires.
Everybody could eat.
Take all the money from all those white people in Texas and be fine. Be justice.
Right.
No justice, no peace.
Yeah.
There's peace. It's important to point out two things about differences and similarities here. One of the things that you're undoubtedly seeing and are going to see is right-wing Americans loudly saying that they support Israel. These people, they don't. Let's be clear. They also loudly said that there were good people on both sides of the Nazi rally in Charlottesville.
Yeah, which one of their famous chants in that rally
was the Jews will not replace us.
Correct.
If they can call Hamas anti-Semites and say that they're bad, but can't call neo-Nazis, white nationalists, Paul Gosar bad as well, if they can't call them anti-Semites, that's not your friend. And Jewish folks, these people are not serious. Don't talk to them anymore. They're not part of us. They don't care. They don't support us. And I want to be clear what they do support. Whenever you hear an evangelical Christian talk about supporting the state of Israel, that has a time limit on it. They want us to exist long enough for their Messiah to arrive and then tell us to either convert or die. That's how their end times fantasy works.
That's their story.
That's their story.
That's what it is.
So they leave the
Closed
second
book.
half of the sentence off.
Yeah.
We support Israel until we need them to die. What was that last part? Shut up. I'm Ted Cruz. Right? Like, don't listen to them. They're not here for us. They can't talk about how we control the weather and have space lasers and are really running the world and Hollywood and shit, and then turn around and talk about we support Israel.
Can't be both.
You can't be both.
No.
If you have friends who are struggling with calling the Nazis in Charlottesville Nazis, if you have friends who are struggling with calling out white supremacy as anti-Semitic, if you have friends who are having trouble denouncing the behaviors of various publicly elected anti-Semites as such, who then also say they support Israel, they don't. They don't. They're just saying it. It's empty. And they don't have a dog in that fight. You can kick them out. They don't need to be here for this. Once it's all over, if you want to let them come back to the barbecue, that's fine.
Up to you. But
they're not here. The other thing I want to talk about is that's a difference. I want to talk about a similarity. Let's be clear about these white supremacists. They hate Muslims as much as they hate Jews.
Yeah.
Like, we're on the same side of that coin, guys. Like, yeah, we're going to have to settle this Hamas shit, whatever. we'll probably get that settled before white people start accepting either one of us. That seems obvious to me. So if the white folks,
I mean, you saw me probably on the way up here, and I had to confirm this, that Trump came out and said he faults Netanyahu, and then he says Hezbollah, quote, very smart, end quote. Crazy, here it is, right?
He said Hezbollah
there you
is very
go.
smart.
There
he said Iran was very smart.
Yeah, there it is for you. Like
he says Putin's very smart.
That's
your very smart.
Your leader.
That's your guy.
That's your guy.
If that's your guy, who's calling Hezbollah really smart, and then you're talking about how you support Israel,
help me make it sense.
Y'all not part of this. You're not serious. You can't have this conversation. I don't want to hear it. It's just like your mic is cut. You can't be involved. All right, so that's one similarity between Jews and Palestinians is that as far as white people go, we're all mud people to them. They don't care. And, they only need us around for their own expediency. Yeah. Another thing has to do with like a belief structure. If you're somebody who keeps halal and you can't find halal food around, but you can find kosher, guess what you're allowed to do? You're allowed to eat kosher. It's even considered higher up in the godly cleanliness of this. We are brothers. This conflict, when I said it goes back 5,000 years, goes back to Jacob and Esau. These are brothers. These are literally Abraham's two sons. These are brothers. We are brothers. And one of the things that we share is this idea about what life is. And it says in the Talmud that every life is an entire world. That if you save a life, you've saved an entire world. And if you take a life, you've destroyed an entire world. And that's very, very true. You know where else it says that? In the Quran. It says that every life is a world. That if you take a life, you've destroyed an entire world. If you save a life, you have saved an entire world. And think about what that means, because every one of us sees an entire world in front of us.
Yeah.
And if you didn't exist, your version of the world never existed.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Just like that.
So every time you destroy a life, you've destroyed an entire world. And all of the people in that world that would have interacted with that person won't. And here we are about to have what is looking like a cataclysmic level of death here.
Yeah,
I mean, this is going to make, because this is bad.
Because again, right, as we know, as we knew that we were the response, yeah, the Israeli military is already ready to march in to Gaza, right? But Hamas is also sitting there, and they're waiting for this.
They're waiting. They're in their
and
tunnels.
This is
under
about
the schools and the hospitals.
And I mean, God, like I think like one thing I wrote down here was power, and it, like, to your point with Netanyahu, which seems really kind of crazy. It doesn't seem crazy, but it's just like to try to put
every
that.
time I say something crazy on the show
I
and
know,
it comes true,
but
I
trying
want
to
to
put that
metal.
trying to put that together is just like, wow, okay, but like even with Hamas, it's again like how do you want to hold on to power, right? And like again, I mean, off air we talk. Well, you ask like, well, they knew what the response would be, and I'm like, maybe they wanted like it seems like, or maybe on between these two entities, right? Between like if you're saying with Netanyahu, like if you're saying that, and you have Hamas there, it's like, do both entities really want this to happen? Because again, right, when you have chaos and confusion,
you maintain power.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things is like you sit back and look, and it's like, oh wow, and like to the second point of that, I was like, the civilians around this is like, again, right, just based on the fact that, right, every Israeli, like, or most Israeli citizens have to fight in the war, and the way Hamas rules, and to your point just there, like, right, they blend. It's not like like who you gonna tell the difference? Like,
they put their missile bases on top of schools
in a mosque.
Yeah,
So again, we know what
The Palestinians are unwilling participants in a war, you know, and they don't have a choice.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, they're about this. They're about to steamroll. Like it's about to be like a lot of loss of life is going to be at a high clip again. And this is coming off. I mean, I'm wondering.
We're gonna hit numbers where I stop crying about it because it's gonna be so big that
it's
I can't.
It's
I
COVID,
can't,
and it's like it's
yeah.
It's COVID, and it's like okay, have we become so desensitized as almost a world now
to death?
And it's like I don't like. It worries me because. Yeah, this we know again what and also like the last piece I think as well is that, like maybe right now, across all these social media platforms, maybe we give it a rest because I don't even like. How could you like? I almost don't even feel with the amount of disinformation and misinformation on there. How do I
People are mistaking video game clips for
video game clips? Justin Bieber is putting up things to support, but it's really in Gaza. like he's supporting. Like it's like, whoa, hold on. Like maybe we could just take a pause on because
this is the first social media war of this size.
And when we've now stripped away, Elon
is.
We stripped away something. Like, there wasn't a lot of guardrails before. Don't let me out here and make it.
But there's even fewer now.
It's fewer now, and I just don't. I mean, and then you tie this into a United States election year. Like I'm telling you, like
people are refusing to give their dogs rabies vaccines because of what they learned about they convinced themselves the vaccine bullshit with the COVID. Like dogs are not getting their rabies shots.
Wait till something bites your dog.
They don't care. Then they'll blame it on Joe Biden and he's in the basement and shit. Like Brandon. Yeah. Like that. It's not a time to inject this level of confusion. This is already such a complicated thing.
Yo, we as a people, we can't really, we're very having trouble right now. I mean, right from the deterioration of like a traditional like fourth estate to actually provide some damn facts. We as a collective people, it's almost like it's not meant right now for us to even hold multiple thoughts, to combine this together. It's again for lack of a better word, it's partisan in the fact that no one's taking in information at all. No one is giving out any empathy. I'm very worried. And how could you get more worried than what we've seen over the last week?
That's a very serious question.
How the hell could you get more worried?
I am struggling with this in real time. I don't have anybody to talk to about this. I talk to my Jewish friends about this. They're all over the damn place.
That is understandable.
It's understandable, but here's the thing that's about to happen. And this is the thing that everybody knew was going to happen. I don't know what Hamas was pretending was going to happen. It's not like they were going to stage this attack and Israel was going to be like, whoa, that was pretty serious. You know what? You got a point. We're going to go ahead and pack it up and everybody's going to move back to Poland. Yeah. No, that wasn't going to happen. What was going to happen is exactly what's about to happen, is that the Israelis are about to turn Gaza into a sheet of glass. And there's no guardrails. The Americans aren't going to be able to restrain them. They're not even going to try. No, they're all out here talking about Israel's got a right to defend itself.
Yo, Joe Biden let you know what the and I also too.
I love this. They attack because of Joe Biden's weakness.
What? Did anybody like?
So Biden rushes the Gerald Ford, our brand new, most powerful aircraft carrier to the region, and Fox News talks about, well, he sent the wokest aircraft carrier we got. Motherfucker, it's an aircraft carrier. Number one. Number two, we're not even fighting in this war. America is not even fighting in this war. I don't know why there's an aircraft carrier there, but I can guarantee you that aircraft carrier could kick everybody in the region's ass by its damn self.
One.
And he's sending another. And he sent them plane loads of ammunition.
Also, too,
and it's because he's weak.
Also, too, did I not know who Joe Biden is?
Yeah,
you forgot? What the hell are we talking about?
No, because they have this weird cartoon version of who Joe Biden is. They forgot. There might not be a single politician in the United States, a non-Jewish politician in the United States, who is as committed to the existence and function of a modern Israeli state as Joe Robinette Biden. Joseph Robinette Biden wants Israel, he's not really great to the Arabs. Let's just
There we go. All right, yo, that's not really his thing.
So every time there's like a question about should the Israelis maybe back it off with the checkpoints or whatever, he's like, back it off. I'll help him bring more checkpoints.
Yeah,
They'll get my coat. Like
that's been his get up from the beginning.
He loves bombing Arabs.
Yo, yeah,
I'm not making this up.
Yeah,
he was the first to authorize the war in Iraq as a senator. He was let's vote. Let's fucking kill them all. Don't you want to see the? No. They said there's weapons. It's good enough for me. I'm voting. Let's do it.
The Bush guy's all right.
Yeah. Who cares? This argument that Joe Biden's weakness allowed for this attack is one of the most like stretched, even for Republicans. This is a real stretch. They don't care who the president is over there. You understand that, right? Hamas does not give a fuck who our president is, number one. Number two, Joe Biden is looking for any reason. Shit, Obama drone struck the fuck out of everybody in Yemen.
Yeah.
And Somalia. You know he's calling up, Joe, if you want to know how to fire the drones, there's a way to do it. All you got to do is reach under the desk. There's a button. And calls Michelle. And then she hits the thing on her iPhone and they're all gone. Yeah. You know, that's it. Yeah. He loves that shit too.
Yeah. Yo.
Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah.
Drone struck the fuck out of the Arab world.
Which he copped to in his memoir as well. Like, yeah, I was very surprised.
Proud of it.
He copped to that. Said I had to do that and then look at people, like look at other Muslim people and go to the countries like where people are coming up to him, but I just drove, copped to it. Smooth, so.
To be clear, what's about to happen is the Israelis are going to commit dozens of war crimes.
Doesn't matter.
Are committing dozens of war crimes.
It doesn't, yeah.
And somebody like me, yeah.
What the hell's going to happen?
Yeah,
like,
they're not a party to any of these treaties. They wouldn't do, they don't
fuck?
Care. And I want to be clear. Me saying that does not mean that I don't want that to happen. I'm not saying I want it to happen, but I understand it. I do get it. This might be the first time that something like this has happened where my reaction was more sad than mad.
I could see that.
I want to tell a personal story if I can.
Please.
My kids are pretty young. This is happening. We're trying not to tell them too much about it. By the time I was my oldest kid's age, I was already convinced that the Arabs were the worst people on the planet, and I wanted them all dead. And that's what I was taught in Hebrew school. And I can remember in my teens seeing a photo in the newspaper of a group of Palestinians mourning a death. I think this was after the Gilad Shalit incident, or maybe it was an earlier one than that. But I remember seeing a bunch of people in a photo. And I said to my parents, if they could get a photographer that close to take a picture, they could have got a gun that close and killed all of them. That was who I was. I've had to unlearn a lot of that. And I can understand if you're still not there, you might not have got to that point where your reaction is violence, retribution, revenge. And it sounds trite, but Star Wars has this one right. That anger is the way of the dark side. If we, meaning the Jews, meaning Jewish people, meaning the Israelis, commit a genocide in Gaza, any moral standing we had as the victims of a genocide are gone. And we will have become our enemy.
I hope that, and that's just a very deep ass story right there. Like, because you can't expect that from everyone, right? Like, you can't expect everybody to again.
I think it happens when you grow up and you have kids.
Yeah, I'm right. Yes, hell yeah. Because it's like, all right, well, other people, like, seeing children. I don't even want to kind of go too deep into that because that's
seeing other parents struggle with the same struggle that you have creates a solidarity.
Even like seeing someone's kids fall at the friggin' playground hits me. Like,
creates a level of solidarity that transcends everything.
I wonder because that point there of if you go in, like if
we kill 100,000 Palestinians in Gaza,
does that's
what does that make us?
It's one of the things it's not the same, but I look.
And it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. I mean, sadly, that's just gonna be what the outcome of this is. But I also, it's not the same, but I look at it sometimes in South Florida and the Cubans who ran from Castro. And I look at it, and again, it's not at the same level because again, they're not, I wouldn't say they're out there like, they're not doing on either side of it is like killing people. But when it comes to like the politics of it, some of the ways they run government is almost like Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
Like
they
I
tolerate
can,
no dissent. They
yo,
it's
go listen to some of those. Like, if you ever go in to listen to like some like South Florida like the commissions, like Miami-Dade, like, and I sometimes look at them and I'm like, yo,
you've become this thing.
You've become this thing, and it's like I don't know. I would almost want to look into like it would interest me to look into like folks who come from a like severe like trauma and tragedy, and as the years go on, like, is there something in that? Because
we know that kids who are abused often become
abusive. Right.
Like,
I guess that
it seems like it tracks, but it's also it's one of these things where if you're so convinced of your moral superiority based on what has happened to you previously,
right,
you almost walk around with a license to do anything.
Right.
And for the last 50 or so years, the Israelis have operated under this, we were the victims of the Holocaust, therefore we are entitled to overreact to anything. And it doesn't matter how disproportionate the situation gets. It's always, hey, look, they came for us. We've seen this movie before. We needed to get super aggressive to stop the threat where it's at. And for years, they called that mowing the grass. They literally called it mowing the grass in Israel. They would go into Gaza, kill enough people to buy themselves a little bit of time between attacks. When Netanyahu says now we're going to do things that reverberate for generations,
those are
when he says things that like we're going to change the shape of the Middle East forever, that's not the talk of a military operation.
Because there are rules. They're kind of right. Regular military operation. There are rules.
That's the shape of somebody who thinks that the ground in front of them is a slab of clay for them to mold as they see fit. And to remove sections they don't like.
And what an opportune time for him.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't, and it's so crazy, because like, how the hell can I even say that, right? That he just like, that again.
Tell me I'm crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying, I don't, because it's almost like, if it gets to that, what is like, right? That's a ripple in the pond, and I don't know what I don't know what the other ripples, what that's gonna, whether it's China, whether it's Russia,
it's already
America,
happening in China.
Like,
I mean, they're doing it to the Uyghurs.
But I'm just saying, like, what is this then? Like, in that region, was trying to just see around the corner of what, like.
Well, that's the question. Yeah. What could the future possibly be?
Like,
if Israel ends up committing a genocide, which I believe is likely, what does the future look like? Can the United States continue to stand with them? Can the people in the Arab world who are, making good sense and, normalizing relationships, will those relationships hold? Probably not.
I think the relationship with the United States is there. I don't think that can change. The only one president ever to even like I don't really like this is Barry. That's the only one, right? Yeah. To ever be like, not really. I don't really like that. And Netanyahu lost his and came over here, went to Congress, was like that. Like, yeah, that's the only one. So I don't think that. It's for people who have been persecuted for, I don't know how millennia. This seems real. Like the bet seems, because your other point for the rest of the world, the bet seems bad, because it almost seems like then that like
everybody who's wanted to come after us is going to be ready to look at those genocidal maniacs.
But then it also seems weird, because I feel like this time in my life, especially here and listening to like my Jewish American, it's more been a response in the past, and like the kids I grew up with and houses I would go at, like when things like this would pop off. To your earlier point, like, all right, fuck the Palestinians.
Yeah, kill them all.
Kill them all. But in this generation, I feel like there are more people who are like really fucked up about what's happening to their people, but also can look over and be like, yo, I don't really like that either. And I feel like, but it feels like
but I keep getting asked the same question every time I sort of bring that up. I'm like, look, we can't become that. And they go, well, what should we do? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, like
and it's okay not to know.
Yeah, but I feel like there's more. I don't know. Maybe I'm off on this, but at least in this country, I feel like there are more people who are like, yo, I don't want it to get to that. Like I feel like, but the people in power across this, right, all over the world, those are not those people. No. And it comes back to like everything we look at is that we say, all right, the populace wants X, but the people in power are like, nah.
Understand that the leadership is not always the people.
Yeah.
And
Hamas is not the leader. Like,
well, you have two groups of people who are effectively being held captive by their leadership.
We saw the Israelis in the street.
Right. So the people of Israel are not down with the Bibi government, and the people of Palestine are not down with Hamas. But they're both held captive by these people, by these two groups.
About to be both held accountable.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I mean that like but like they're going to be held accountable for something that isn't of their doing.
The Hamas leadership is safe in Qatar.
Yeah, like they're not even home.
And Bibi's safe.
They're not home, yo. Like, so sometimes I look like, all right. And my thing is as well too, right? I'm very interested. Once you run in here and raise this, do you just leave?
No.
Like that? No. What is it then? What is that like?
So
do you build settlement? What happens?
No, they tried that. There's a lot of chatter about this too, and this gets to another important point. Yeah. Is that the Arab world has turned their back on the Palestinians?
Oh, and I've been saying that. I've been looking a very critical eye at a lot of these Arab states that were like, yeah, we kind of want the money. We want this we want the economic prosperity of relationship with Israel.
Right, but they also want, for years they've wanted to have this scapegoat and say that, well, the reason we can't get stuff going is because we need to help our Arab brothers in their fight against Israel or whatever, and they funnel money into Palestine. But the truth is, like I said before, Lebanon's never accepted the people, Jordan's never accepted the people, Syria's never accepted the people, Saudis have never accepted the people, Egypt's never accepted the people. The Palestinians are a pawn at best for the rest of the Arab world, and they're the dirt on the bottom of their shoe. They're ethnically distinct enough that they're treated as different. And the help is not coming.
It's not. It's just, it is.
The help is not coming. I don't know what Hamas thought was going to happen, but the help is not coming. But what is coming is a lot of children are going to die.
But I think, I'm not just, I don't want to, but again, the whole objective of terror, right, is to instill fear, right? In the school that my child goes to, right? A lot of messages have happened today, right? My child goes to the school, it's Hebrew immersion, and right, and people talking about like, hey, are we going to send our kids to school tomorrow? And me, I said, well, I've been frightened to send my kids since I put them in pre-K 3, but at a certain point, it's like, do you operate in fear? Because we know, look, something like 9/11, when we move in fear, everything else gets thrown out the window. But then,
if you move with fear, you might end up doing something you regret.
Yeah.
And in some cases, it's like putting duct tape and plastic on your windows.
Yeah.
And in other cases, it's like genociding 100,000 people. And I think that's what's going to happen.
Are we off next week?
I don't remember.
Because I don't
know how calendars
I don't want to. Right? I'm like, all right. When it's like, because now it's like every week it's going to be a barometer of carnage, right? It's just going to be another marker, right? That's what that did. And sorry, I'm usually an optimist on the show, but this is like that is what the fuck it's about to be, and I don't really know. I don't know what this. I do know what this looks like afterwards. I don't know. And this sounds hyperbolic. I don't know what the world looks like after this. This could be. Yeah, I don't know. Because to your point, let's see where other lines are drawn and where, again, that handshakes.
If we massacre 100,000 Palestinians, and the other countries that have always wanted to destroy the Jews have had any restraint put on them by the world order that is basically uncomfortable with that. If people are like, whoa, they might have gone a little too far here. These people are not who we thought they were. Those restraints are off.
Yeah.
And now we're fighting this war for the rest of forever.
That's why America doesn't waver in this situation, because they can't let that happen.
No, but
I know that's me as
they
the
also
American.
aren't going to put American boots on the ground to protect Israel.
Hell no. I know that. Full, yeah.
So it's all just about, it's another proxy war, I guess. I don't know. Here's what we got to do. We got to take a break because Brian is making all kinds of noises back there in the booth. But he keeps us on pace.
Yes.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to turn on the funny again because Congress is hilarious.
Yeah. We'll run through it.
And yeah, we'll run through it, and there'll be all kinds of funny stuff. We promise it'll get funny again. You never know. I don't know. Maybe.
I doubt it.
We'll try our best. You're listening to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
All right, everybody, make some noise.
All right, y'all, good vibes only in the spot with us tonight. You know, we got nightlife in the house. We got Mel in the house. We got Gavin in the house. You know, it's Solstice in the house. Yo, we keeping it classic, are you? Loafers with the white socks. Do not play.
knew. For after this.
Welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping, y'all?
All right, so that was the sad part of the show.
Yeah. Transition.
Yeah, hooray! It's yeah.
A bell always makes things better.
Sure. All right, so Orson Alex Jones.
I'll laugh at a funeral for that shit. I'm sorry, yo. Jesus Christ, sorry.
All right, so now we're going to talk about one of our favorite things in this town, Congress.
Be great to have a speaker right now.
Well, one of the funny things about there being no speaker is that all of these right-wing Republicans who want to grandstand about their support of Israel can't. Because they can't go to the House floor and just start talking because Congress isn't there. It doesn't exist, and they can't get their shit together. And they also can't pass any bills to help support Israel.
Someone's talking, though.
Yeah? Who's talking?
I think, it's our favorite football coach.
Yep. Senator Ears. Tommy Tuberville.
Sack of shit.
Yeah.
Man.
Formerly of getting his ass whooped at Ole Miss, formerly of getting his ass whooped at Auburn, formerly of getting his ass whooped at Cincinnati. The list kind of goes on.
Yeah.
Is now getting his ass whooped by Twitter?
X.
Essentially, Twitter. All right, here's what you got to know.
Tommy Tuberville on Twitter.
Yeah. Tommy Tuberville is a senator, nominally. From a place called Alabama? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
It's not Auburn.
What?
War Eagle. So what happened is he has decided that he does not like the United States military and has decided to try to destroy it, much like
he's doing it.
Much like the British and the Soviets before him. And he's been successful in the same way that Matt Gaetz has been more successful than Khrushchev in destroying America.
Crazy.
Isn't that funny?
I mean, but I mean, we knew it was over when the Confederate flag came on the backs of idiots.
Isn't this one of those things that you're always right about, like when the white people stop
following white people rules? It's very alarming because then you sit back and like, oh, all this could go to shit real quick.
It could go to shit, right?
Like it's already a shit.
Did you know you were dependent on white people?
Yeah, kind. Yeah,
yeah,
you know,
it's really
that's
unfortunate.
Yeah,
I'm finding that out too. So here's what happened. Tommy Tuberville is a sack of shit, and he's been holding up the military's promotion system for a long time, which he only found out about when he got to the Senate. He doesn't know how this works. He doesn't know who a general is. He doesn't know anything about this, but he knows that he can raise money off of it, so he's doing a bunch of dumb shit. So, what happened?
Someone said he's supposed to be erased from the human race.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And he was the CIA director, or former CIA director.
Bush's former Secretary of Defense and CIA director, General Michael Hayden, who is as you can see, count on his shoulder, 4 stars.
Yeah.
He's not some wilting flower here. Was like, he doesn't like these Trumpistas, but he is pretty pro-military. Again, reference the 4 stars.
Yeah.
So because Tuberville's holding up these, flag officer appointments, he's like, yo, this sucks. And people were asking if Tuberville should be removed from the Senate, and Hayden chimed in with, how about from the human race?
Standard Twitter mess.
It's Twitter stuff.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's not even a good jab.
It's locker room talk.
So
it's fine. So what did Senator Ears do?
Didn't he called the Capitol Police
He
on
called the Capitol Police. He said there's been a credible threat on my life.
Rich.
Yeah.
Rich.
And he called the Capitol Police. But here's my favorite part is that there are these statements here. Do you want to know what the statements are? It's really amazing. First of all, Hayden, works for CNN now, doubled down on his take on Tuesday morning. He said, quote, I was surprised to wake up this morning and discover that many MAGA nuts had lost their minds over my suggestion that Coach Tuberville not be considered a member of the human race. I stand by that view, and I wish you all a nice day, even the intransigent Tommy Tuberville. Good answer.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, he nuanced the shit out of that one. Yeah. Tuberville released several statements. Here's one of them. Quote, I'm not a politician.
Evident.
Said the senator.
Evident. Huh?
And when I came to Washington, I did not expect to be popular among the clown show, but I certainly did not expect to be lied about on the Senate floor and threatened by former government officials like Michael Hayden. Anyone who actually cares about our country must go on the record and condemn his reckless statements. Yeah. Way to go, buddy. He's such a fucking wimp. You know, these guys talk so much tough shit, and then they get one actual Army officer, or in his case, Air Force, to go, hey, man, you're fucking up the military, and they go crying to mommy?
He works on CNN. That's his whole job.
Yeah.
What the hell? It's to go on TV and say shit.
Tuberville's whole job is to say crazy shit and raise money and get reelected. So
or be a participating member of the United States
in the clown
Senate.
show. What? Also, I think we've said it on this show several times. Stop calling Washington a clown show, you fucking assholes. You're the ones that send these people here. We can't even vote. You send them here.
You picked this guy.
Yeah. That's your clown show, Alabama. With your now two voting districts. Hey. All right, over on the House side.
Oh.
As we reported earlier, No Shot Steve has pulled out of his bid at the speakership. There's now currently no front runner. I don't know if Jim Jordan can win. No. So there's still no House Speaker.
There's no one with the
Patrick
fucking
McHenry.
Yeah, there's no one with the fucking balls to vote Jeffries in.
We might be getting closer.
I don't think
Get closer to that shutdown. I think. Look, we need we're down to where 217 is the threshold.
Doesn't that then destroy the Republican Party?
Yes. Ring the bell for that one. Jesus.
No, again, we need a two-system party.
Yes, we do need a two-system party made of street balls.
Street balls. No, we can't get rid of them.
Well, we can get rid of this version
of it. They're gonna be reborn in the image of Lincoln.
Find the Eisenhower ones, put them back. There's got to be.
There are.
Chamber of Commerce, where are you, man? Like, can you just get back to wanting low taxes and impoverishing brown people like you used to? Like, that we can work with.
Time.
We can work with that. All right, so over in the House, No Shot Steve, he's done. Chaos cannot be managed over there.
That's a great.
They had a closed-door meeting today.
Oh, God. What's the name? Kate
where
walked
Marge wouldn't put her phone down. Now, in these closed-door meetings, you're supposed to check your phone at the door. They have the head of House Security, and Marge was like, I'm not a 14-year-old kid. Can't take my phone away. And that's direct quote. And she goes marching in there with her phone. Scott McFarlane had the scoop.
Like, there's quotes from their own party that, again, they came out of that meeting. What was it? Troy Nels? Yeah, he said that we're a broken conference.
Yes.
You came out to admit that.
Yes.
Like, what?
Chip Roy's out here talking about, they rushed this to the floor. I don't want to vote for it just on that principle alone.
What?
Like, you're here for chaos?
There's a reason it was rushed to the floor.
Yeah, the government's going to shut down in 5 minutes, and you need a Speaker of the House. Like, what the fuck, guys? I thought they all carry around pocket constitutions.
No, they don't.
Do they not know how to look in them? Also, shout out to Nancy Mace, who is trying to embarrass the shit out of everybody who claimed that having a dress code in the Senate was necessary. She has been out there with her, I don't know what to call them, citadels, in front of everybody for like a week. She's wearing tight T-shirts and shit under her blazer. What are you doing? You're a congresswoman, lady. She's trying to raise male fundraising.
Hey, you know what she'll be soon?
Fox News.
No, OnlyFans.
Oh, that's true. You know, they say, butterface Nancy Mace.
Oh, wow. Anyways, I don't know. I feel comfortable ringing
Brian,
the bell for
nothing?
that.
Okay.
No, he's ready to go home.
He's all Bobert.
Oh, yeah, he's all.
Can't be. Who would you pick, Nancy Mace or Bobert?
I don't know who Nancy Mace is. So.
Oh, he's
No,
got
that- wow, there
Go
it
look
is.
her
That's
up
simple.
and see if you know later.
I think everybody's coming out and saying Steve Scalise, he's battling cancer, and from 45.
He is.
He is, but I'm saying that
And
this
a
is
chunk of lead.
and the reason why they're not voting for him. I don't think that's true.
No, it's all bullshit.
Yeah, the reason why is because he might run this.
He might pass a clean CR with Democratic support.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing that got dumb Kevin thrown out of his job.
And I'm not a Steve Scalise fan. He's a racist.
Yeah.
All right?
In the
He's
Klan.
In the Klan.
Yeah.
But if you gave me the pick between Jim Jordan or him, I'd go with the man from the Klan.
Jesus.
Where have we got to?
What a country. What a country. Oh, breaking news.
Oh, God.
Brian's made a choice
Kevin's
between
back.
Nancy Mason and
That's
Lauren
what
Boebert.
I'm sticking with the B.
He's sticking with Boebert.
Hey, there it is.
Also,
Bells for Boebert.
just like we predicted, there are no century winners in the league
Philly
championship
lost?
series. Yep, the Phillies won it.
Or Philly won it? Yeah. That's it. The Braves are out. Why try? You have 162 games.
Here's I was looking. That's what I was looking back before you asked me about Boebert and Nancy. If you remember the 2020 year when they had 8 teams in the playoffs,
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
Give me 2 extra wild cards. Have
Lay
the
it
number
down.
1 seed face the 8th seed, and then go from there. Because I do agree. The fact is like having the number 1 seed, or at least the top 2 seeds, be out, especially in the National League. With 100 wins, I mean, for Major League Baseball, it's like, what the fuck is this shit?
Why are we playing a 162 game season?
And
If
you have
100 of them don't matter?
all 3 100 winners. I mean, this never happens. There's at least should have been 1, but all 3 makes no sense.
This is, you know where this is good for baseball? Because we're talking about it.
Nah.
I'm telling you.
No. This is again.
We're talking about
Yeah,
it.
you're
But-
talking for
but
no
most
filter
of the
sports
country's
reasons.
watching
This
Thursday
is
night football.
yeah for no filter sports reasons. This will just upset me because of the fact it's like this happened to the Orioles before.
Yep.
Because of the stupid how they set that up. But at the same time, I just feels like they're never gonna get this right until it's years later, and I hate that shit. It's like there is a problem, you need to fix it now, so that way towards the don't wait 10, 20 years to fix something where we've been telling you since right after there was the problem.
What if we can just get to 4 divisions and then just have it play down from that?
Yeah, not a bad one.
Just split it to 4 divisions, and then the division.
Well,
winners.
I mean that would have been. I mean that was the case, maybe years ago, and it would have just been just the 2 top teams and call it a day.
No, not just the 2 top teams. It would be 4 teams out of each league, so you have 2.
Right,
playoff rounds.
I get what you're saying
Yeah.
there, but again, I think now with a sense of fact of they want to still have this split, even though they are all now have this, everybody faces each other. I just feel like it's at some point in time, it's like, just like I said for college football, fuck this league split up division shit. Just go for a free for all. Have the top 16 teams, get in the playoffs and go from there. Because that's how it is. I mean, having the divisions just make everyone
Turn
semi-happy,
everything into
make the
college
fans
basketball.
happy, and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like you said, it's utterly meaningless.
The big dance. Play it like that. Everybody gets in the playoffs. 3-game series. 3-game series, and play it down just like that. Baseball goes 18 months a year.
Oh God, people will leave this country. Jesus Christ! Oh my God, what is that bleeding into?
Shit, hockey goes on forever.
Yeah, they don't care. But I mean, there's people who care deeply about
Hockey
that.
starts tomorrow, folks.
Yeah, I know.
That's true. Yeah, okay.
All right, speaking of things nobody cares about, George Santos.
This idiot.
He's got more indictments.
This is over for him.
Look at him. And his stupid sweater. A superseding indictment made public Tuesday charges Representative, heavy air quotes,
This
George
is a
Santos.
great picture of the door he's coming out of.
Yes. With
The Committee
stealing
on Ways and
identities
Means.
of family members and using donor credit cards to spend thousands of dollars, intensifying the legal peril facing the freshman congressman 5 months after he was charged with a host of other financial crimes. He, weirdly enough, weighed in on the speaker stuff, because his vote matters. They're that
It
close.
does.
And they need George Santos. Yeah, so basically what happened was his campaign, was soliciting donations. He lied about how much he donated to his own campaign. That was one of the charges. But also, they got credit cards from people who donated money. And instead of just charging the card and then, getting rid of the they kept charging the cards. They used donors' credit cards to buy things and donate money and stuff. It's crazy. And it's also very, very stupid. He charged at least $44,800 to one unknowing donor's card. To one card.
What is he?
How are they not going to notice that?
I mean, he's not a smart individual.
Clearly.
And we knew more of this was coming out. When he scammed the man with the dog on the veteran on the side of the road, you can't get much lower. Right? What are you? Piece of shit. Keep it moving.
You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
This guy in Denmark.
Oh God! All right, this was I heard when I saw this story. I laughed because I heard this story.
All right, so there's an artist in Denmark whose name is I don't even know.
Is his name in the artist?
Jens Honning.
There it is, Mr. Honning.
Yep. So this museum gave him a big pile of money that he was supposed to use. It was about $72,000. He was supposed to use it in the art that he was producing for the museum. And what he did was pocketed the money and turned them into blank canvases.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, the art is me taking the money," and he called it "Take the Money and Run."
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
It's a statement on salaries.
Yeah, sure. Is it? Wait, explain that.
No, he said the art project was
said.
it was intended to be a statement on salaries.
Go on.
So, right, he stole the money.
So he stole the money.
Yeah.
And the
corporations are stealing money from people, so he stole it from the museum. So I'm going to
steal it from a museum of donors and, docents.
Viewers like you.
Weekends. Stole it from tote bags. So then, the judge ruled that he's got to pay the money back. He's 58 years old. He has to pay back 492,000 kroner out of the 500,000 kroner that he got. So that's almost all of it. He got to keep a little.
That was what I laughed. Yeah, the canvases. When I heard the story, it made me laugh.
Yeah.
But they was
he did give them back their canvases. That's fine. All right. Finally, that guy who thinks he's still president. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. He had a rally where he told everybody about windmills were giving whales cancer.
He said, "I can see it now. Tumors appear."
No, he said the windmills were killing the whales and causing them to beach themselves or whatever. He actually said all of this stuff. I know you're looking at me like I'm just making up word salad, but no, that's very true.
Coal is killing the whales, y'all. The coal jobs that you keep saying are coming back is what's killing the whales.
He doesn't actually care about the whales. Like, it's so...
But his supporters that's simple enough for them to go and regurgitate. He told me about the whales.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Simple people.
And he's the word salad is getting worse. I mean, he's clearly in some sort of cognitive decline. If not outright psychosis.
But the only problem is that so are his followers. So it doesn't even, they're speaking the same language.
Man, woman, camera, person, TV, or whatever. Yeah. All right. So his legal troubles may have hit an interesting thing. Jack Smith had to go to court this week to try to sort out some stuff in the documents case. And one of the things that he was there to sort out was like, hey, you got these lawyers who are representing witnesses and Walt Nada. That seems like a problem. But somewhere in the middle of that filing was this bit about how Trump took the documents and we know why. Everybody's like, whoa, that's news. That's news. We knew he took the documents. Nobody said they know why. What do you know, Jack, that we don't know?
Right.
Must be related to what the witnesses
said,
right? It's why he would have had to say that. Smith's team might not necessarily need to prove Trump's intention or his motive in the case. You have documents. You fail to return them when the government comes calling. It's a crime regardless of why you did it. But It doesn't mean that proving Trump's motive wouldn't be helpful. Indeed, establishing a motive would seem to drive home the intention of Trump's actions and combat any arguments that this was simply a mistake or a misunderstanding. Why do you think he took these things?
I mean, the only thing that makes sense is to use them to sell.
To sell. That's what I think.
I mean, because he needs money. I mean, and a combination of like, look at this cool document I have.
Yeah.
It's that
ego.
too.
It's ego
it's both
and he wants to sell them.
it's both.
I have a different theory.
Okay.
And it's based on where the documents were stored. As you may have remembered, after COVID, toilet paper got very expensive.
God.
And he's got a fake hotel to run.
He does.
And he does need paper for all of those golden toilets or whatever he is with the weird chintzy shower curtain. I'm just saying.
Mike sure tells a story about the gift that he got from Donald Trump for his wedding. And I think he's married to Regis Philbin's daughter, I think. And he says that he gets it, and it's this cheap-ass, like, vase, right? And he looks at it, and he's like, oh, the vase. And it has, like, this dumbass printing on it. But on the other side, there's nothing. Because he obviously just took it from one of the hotels, and they're just sitting. There's nothing on the back.
It's
just has
printed to sit against a wall.
Yeah, he was like,
it's a fake vase.
It's a fake vase. He said it as a wedding gift, and Mike shows like, I'm sure he went into like he got 100,000 of these one-sided vases.
Yeah,
So I could see that.
That's what Trump is doing with those. That's what he was doing with them. He was, he eats a lot of cheeseburgers.
And toilet paper was,
it is expensive, man. Inflation is up. Joe Biden.
Yeah.
That was the trick, right? Dark Brandon was like, I'm going to make inflation go up and make him steal a bunch of toilet paper.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to get him. Him and his stupid kids.
I mean, he should wipe his ass with anything he did in that damn fucking 4 years anyway.
Hey.
So,
He'll wipe his ass with Eric's school transcripts.
God.
All right.
He went to war with Iran. Remember that?
Yeah.
Part time and right before
Before he tried to kill Millie.
Yeah. Why is that should have been? We did not talk about that enough.
No, don't worry. There's more coming. Millie's gonna write a book.
Yo, I talk about that
He's
a lot.
He's only been retired for 5 minutes.
Some people I talk to like he didn't say that. And I'm like,
yo, he said that.
He
didn't just say it. He tweeted it on his fake Twitter, and it's still there. You can go look at it. He didn't take it down.
Talk about fascist playbook.
All right, you hear the music, which means to come to the end of the show. That means we want to say thank you to Dylan Ford for coming out.
Yes, thank you.
Can't wait to have him back. Now he's going to tell us what we should rename
the
city once it becomes a state. Thanks to our listeners who came along for this emotional journey. It's not easy. It does help me a lot to talk about it. So sorry if y'all had to absorb some of that.
Sure.
Thanks. It's half your show too, buddy. One day you're going to try.
One day I'm going to try. So then it's yours.
Thanks to our media partners, the brave reporters covering these wars.
Yeah.
Thanks to NOTN for another week, we assume, although we haven't checked. Thanks to our digital media meatball, Isaac Elam, and thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Beltway Radio for making us sound as smooth as the song Imagine, which I would highly encourage people to listen to a lot for the next while. All right, where can everybody get you on the social medias and stuff?
That's too much for me on social media. Don't come look for me.
All right, you can find me in the show on Twitter at ChipChatRR. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram at RipChipChat. And you can, of course, find us every Thursday night here on Beltway Radio and Beyond at 9:30. I'm Chip, that's Tez, that's Brian. You've been listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and Beyond.
Sweeps!